Savannah Chrisley has slammed claims against Julie Chrisley that suggest she was faking her breast cancer diagnosis. Fans were shocked to hear that someone would say this. However, Savannah did not hesitate to put the person in their place and let them know they were messed up for saying this. Julie Chrisley was recently released from prison. However, haters have been out to get the Chrisleys ever since. There is a lot to unfold and uncover. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Todd and Julie Chrisley were in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. However, they are still claiming that they never did this and were wrongfully accused. Savannah Chrisley was fighting for her parents' freedom the entire time. Fans thought she was wasting her time. However, it seemed to work out in her favor. Donald Trump pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley. They are now out of prison and back with their family. This is something they were all waiting for 2.5 years. However, Savannah was determined to get her parents out and was not going to stop until they were free. She has stood by them throughout this entire journey. Since the Chrisleys' release, they have been adjusting to life outside of prison. Todd has been on social media and making videos with his children. He has also been out and about to go shopping and eat, so he is adjusting well. However, Julie has not been doing this. She has been staying behind the scenes in a lot of it. Fans think she had it harder in prison than Todd did. She has not been seen in public or on social media much. However, she did just attend a conference with Savannah. In the end, fans are ecstatic that the two are out of prison. They are mainly happy for their children, who were without their parents for so long. A hater recently accused Julie Chrisley of faking her breast cancer diagnosis to get easier treatment in prison. However, this did not sit well with Savannah. She was not having people accuse her mother of faking cancer. This upset her greatly, and is something she is not going to stand around and do nothing about. So, of course, she had her mother's back and defended her on her podcast. Fans backed her up in the comments and slammed the hater for doing that to her. It seems as though the claims that Julie Chrisley faked her breast cancer diagnosis did not sit well with Savannah Chrisley. This made her furious, and she made sure to let fans know that. Savannah has always had her parents' back and does not switch up on them. So it is not surprising that Savannah said what she did after these claims surfaced. What do you think about this situation? Did you think the comment was absurd? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. The Chrisley family, long accustomed to the glare of the spotlight, has never been far from public scrutiny. But even for a family hardened by years of reality television fame, courtroom drama, and online gossip, the latest accusation hurled at matriarch Julie Chrisley has ignited a particularly searing firestorm. As Julie continues to adjust to life outside of prison, following her early release after serving time for financial crimes, a new and deeply personal rumor has begun to circulate that she faked her breast cancer diagnosis years ago in an attempt to garner sympathy or manipulate her legal situation. To those familiar with the family's history, the allegation feels absurd, almost laughable in its desperation. But for Savannah Chrisley, the couple's fiercely protective daughter and current guardian of the Chrisley legacy, there's nothing funny about it. Rather than letting the gossip fester in the shadows, Savannah has chosen to meet the whispers head-on with a clear, calculated, and fiery rebuttal. A family worn by trials, the Chrisleys are no strangers to drama. Their rise to fame, built on the success of their reality series Chrisley Knows Best, catapulted them into the homes of millions who either adored or loathed their southern charm, affluence, and strict family dynamic. But the polished veneer began to crack in 2019 when Todd and Julie Chrisley were indicted on charges of bank and wire fraud, conspiracy, and tax evasion. As their legal troubles deepened, so did public interest in the family. Every court date, every family appearance, every social media post was dissected with voyeuristic hunger. But nothing could have prepared them for the most recent wave of speculation. Quiet at first, it began with a few cruel comments on social media. Then it was a viral post from a gossip account. Finally, it erupted into mainstream online discourse. The suggestion at Julie's breast cancer diagnosis, first made public in 2012, had been fabricated. The weight of falsehoods the rumor didn't just sting. It cut to the core of the Chrisley family's most painful chapter. Back in 2012, Julie received the devastating news. She had breast cancer, mastectomy followed by intense reconstructive surgeries. At the time, Savannah was still a teenager, trying to balance her own adolescence with the role of caretaker, protector, and emotional support system for her younger siblings and a mother who suddenly needed her more than ever. There were long nights of nausea, of whispered prayers by hospital beds of Grayson, then barely school age, asking questions no child should ever have to. There were checkups, setbacks, hormonal therapies, and a complete lifestyle transformation. Julie's body bore the scars of survival. Her family bore the emotional residue of having faced mortality. And no, more than a decade later, that journey was being reduced to a fabrication in the cruel theater of internet commentary. Savannah's Armor Savannah Chrisley has always worn her emotions like armor. In interviews, on social media, and most recently through her podcast, Unlocked, she has become the family's mouthpiece and advocate. And when the false cancer claim began to gain traction, she responded not with silence, but with fire. She didn't need a press release. She didn't need a publicist to clean things up. Savannah knew that the only way to confront this new wave of cruelty was to tell the truth, boldly, confidently, and with unflinching sincerity. She laid out the timeline. Julie's cancer came in 2012. The legal drama started in 2019. To suggest any connection between the two events wasn't just ignorant, it was malicious. But beyond facts and timelines, Savannah leaned into the emotional truth. She spoke about the trauma of watching her mother wither under treatment, of seeing someone so strong become fragile, and of how Julie never used her illness as a shield or an excuse. There were no sympathy interviews, no GoFundMe campaigns, no television specials centered around the illness. If anything, Julie had faced her diagnosis with quiet dignity, never leveraging it for gain, only surviving it for her children. Internet mob versus human experience. Seen a digital age where clicks fuel relevance, stories often lose their nuance. Social media rewards hot takes, not hard truths. In this context, Julie's battle with cancer became just another potential angle for people who thrive on tearing down public figures. But Savannah's response pierced through the noise. She didn't just defend her mother, she humanized her. She reminded the public that the woman at the center of the rumor wasn't a reality show archetype, but a mother, a wife, and a survivor. The internet may not have known the woman who used to sleep in a recliner for months after surgery because lying flat caused unbearable pain. It didn't know the woman who would still carry the invisible weight of chemically induced menopause at 39. And it certainly didn't see the nights when Savannah would lie awake in fear, listening to her mother breathe in the next room, terrified that the cancer might return. These weren't plot lines. These were memories, sacred ones, and they were not up for public debate. Quiet resilience. To Julie herself has said little publicly since her release. In her absence, Savannah has acted not only as the family's de facto spokesperson, but as its emotional heartbeat. Her defense of Julie wasn't just about squashing a rumor. It was a daughter defending the integrity of the woman who raised her, held her during her worst moments, and taught her the very resilience she now embodies. What Savannah communicated, without a single raised voice or performative outrage, was that some wounds don't heal just because the media moves on. Cancer doesn't stop leaving its mark. And neither does betrayal from a faceless digital crowd that thinks it knows everything. Beyond the Chrisley, Savannah's sharp and unapologetic response resonated beyond her immediate fanbase. Breast cancer survivors and advocates across social media began rallying around her. They recognized the pattern. The minimization of women's pain, the casual dismissal of trauma, and the quickness with which society demands proof of suffering. In pushing back, Savannah wasn't just standing up for Julie. She was standing up for all women who've been doubted in the face of serious illness. For every survivor whose scars have been questioned. For every family that's had to relive trauma because someone decided a rumor was worth believing, a family's legacy. Redefined, the Chrisleys may forever carry the label of scandal, their convictions and subsequent pardons stamped onto their legacy like ink on a court document. But this moment, Savannah's public takedown of the cancer conspiracy, offers a new lens through which to view them.